I call the honourable member for Bowman.
Look, Deputy Speaker, this really is a privilege for everyone who's in this chamber to speak on behalf of Australian nurses, and that's what this debate really is about. And without being just a little bit self-indulgent and falling back upon little lists of talking points, shouldn't this be a moment for us to recognise this incredible profession? I mean, often bound by paperwork, partly, I think, our fault in this chamber. Sometimes short on energy and hands, but never short of caring. These people do an amazing job, and I want to note also that in regional Australia, they probably have some of the best distribution of workforce of any health professional, any professional. Nurses will go to the ends of the earth and every corner of Australia to deliver their great trade and their wonderful caring. Thank you to them. So it does raise the question, what exactly provoked the debate today? And I think that the Minister for Health just exposed the fact that we've got a few people, some very, very important people in Canberra today. That's right. Now, none of my nursing friends are in Canberra today. No. There are other people. There's some senior ranking union officials in Canberra, and that's why all of a sudden the topic and the spotlight shines to nursing for the first time in years, Deputy Speaker. The first time in years they've ever brought up the issue of nursing. And no doubt about it, I think the Minister of Health exposed the puppet strings and the fact that these subjects over here will jump for whoever will get them pre-selected. But in reality, what we have here is a complete disparity between what the union says and what nurses are saying. And if I can say I spent last week time with nurses working in remote Australia, I didn't hear them singing from any of the song sheets we hear over here. And the more I listen to this side of politics over here, the more I realise they don't know much about how a hospital works than when the visiting hours are around the corner. When you dig down and know what life is like working on the wards and working hard and delivering care, the one thing I think you would ask for, and I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, I think what you'd ask for is focus the resources and the attention of government on the front line of healthcare. Make sure that money is being spent on patients. And I tell you what, over the last 6 years, that mob over there had every chance in the world to prove that they could do that. But no. They just kept setting up another authority, just slipping it through the parliament. That's right, a deal with the Greens. What do we get? More high-rise buildings full of bureaucrats, a few more water bubblers, out came a few more tea trolleys and lumbar supports, but none of that was going to help patients, was it? And that's the question. I mean, that is the raw test of what our commitment is of government about looking after the ill and the sick and the needy. And what this side of the government will never shirk is make sure that those on the front line are looked after. And look, that works right through the whole system. We don't employ large numbers of well-meaning people in authorities to tell us the answers to questions we already know about. We certainly don't start getting spooked when we're worried that they're not going to become union members. I mean, that's not of any great concern to patients, is it? Patients want to know not whether they're cared for by a union member, they want to know they're being cared for by a qualified nurse who is there in appropriate ratios and properly supported by a health system. And I'll take that interjection from the member for Griffith. Queensland has showed a stunning turnaround in A&E waits and in waits for surgery that no one ever thought was possible. But what do? They didn't do it by taking money off the front line. No, they sorted out corporate health. And now we're seeing the money directed to where it's really needed. Look, the second thing is duplication. We want to know that between federal and state services, we don't have ridiculous overlaps. We need a health department federally. We don't need 1 to 5,000 people, none of whom treat a patient. If you talk to ordinary, everyday Australians, they'll say to you, I just want to know that when my child is ill, I can be seen by a well-supported, qualified workforce in A&E. And if I need to go and see or need to get an operation, I know that that will also be available. Nurses are there. Practice nurses are there thanks to coalition initiatives. We've got supervision and practice incentive payments there to look after the doctors that do the supervision. We've got the GP numbers increasing from 1,200 to 1,500. They're the real changes that make a difference. And of course, how would we invest in health infrastructure to help those nurses to work? Well, let's compare and contrast again. How would Labor do it? They'd build a super clinic. That's right, a great big Taj Mahal in Ipswich and another one in Redcliffe with no doctors in it. Empty, treating no one. The lights are on, no one's home. They've even illuminated the cross, but there's nothing going on inside. Reflects a little bit what's happening on the other side. What are we doing? It's a dollar for dollar investment. Practices around the country put up $1, we match the dollar with government funds, and then we know the heart is in it and the clinicians will use that infrastructure appropriately. You'll see more changes and more improvements. Yes, we wave goodbye to authorities. No, we owe nothing to the unions, and yes, on this side, we will do everything we can to serve those on the front line, and our nurses around Australia included.